everyone, this is the Nikon 70-200mm f2.8 Mark II. I'm going to be reviewing this lens at a portrait photo shoot. I have a heap of photo and video examples to share with you, so let's go. That looks so good. The Nikon 70-200mm f2.8 Mark II is a constant aperture full-frame lens, and I'm going to be testing it at a portrait photo shoot today with the Nikon Z8. I'll be sharing lots of unedited, straight-out-of-camera images at 100% crop so you can see the true detail this lens produces. And afterwards, I'll have my edited version, which I use my Havana and Meadow presets for. Yeah, I think if you stand right underneath it, if you come out just a little bit so you're in the light. And thank you to Nikon Australia for loaning me this lens. However, this review is not sponsored by them. They don't tell me what to say and I don't keep the lens. Let's start off with image quality. This 70-200 Mark II produces stunningly sharp images, and I do have the Mark I with me as well to take side-by-side shots, which I'll share with you later on. Also, even though I'm mostly a prime lens shooter, 70-200 zooms have slowly creeped their way into my life over the last few years, to the point where they are now one of my favorite zoom focal lengths to use for portraits and travel. As you'll notice throughout this photo shoot, we didn't have any sun to work with, so I am using a slightly higher ISO than usual, which is fine. The Nikon Z8 handles ISO perfectly fine, but I did end up taking a few sample images at ISO 100, so you can take a look at that as well. Since my shutter speed had to be at 1/125, I didn't keep it there for too long. I am very impressed with the images this lens produces. They have a very punchy, contrasty look with vibrant, true-to-life colors. This lens is very sharp, where you can see plenty of details like skin texture while still maintaining a flattering look for portraits. Constantly keeping an eye out for cuts. Okay. Wow, that's beautiful. This image quality is very consistent throughout the entire focal range. This Mark II also has a shorter minimum focus distance compared to the Mark I, so you can shoot up to 38 centimeters on the wide end and 80 centimeters on the long end. By the way, if shooting with natural light feels inconsistent or intimidating for you, like you're not sure where to place your subject, what light to look for, or why your photos don't stand out, my Mastering Natural Light for Portrait Photography online workshop is now live. I teach you everything I know about working with natural light through a real-world photo shoot, so you can stop guessing and confidently find good light in harsh midday sun, bright afternoon light, and in changing conditions, all without the need of extra gear. You can watch and learn from my workshop at your own pace, and I've linked it down below if you're interested. Let's shoot with that pink wall over there instead, yeah. Because then I'll be able to stay off the road a bit better. Oh wow, okay. I like that. Let's jump to a different day to take a look at autofocus and video performance. I'm making use of People AF with continuous autofocus on Auto Area AF. And as I do with all my reviews, I let the camera and lens do all the work so you can get a better idea of what it would be like using it for yourself. This 70-200 Mark II is making use of Nikon's Silky Swift VCM, which is an upgrade from the Mark I, which uses stepping motors. This lens is incredibly snappy with autofocus and really doesn't skip a beat. This great video autofocus performance is also reflected in stills mode. I asked Eva, our model for today, to move around as much as she wanted to, and she really didn't hold back. This way, we can really see what the lens is capable of in terms of autofocus. It was very sticky and responsive, and I had an extremely high ratio of in-focus photos from our photo shoot. Aside from the autofocus performance, this lens looks fantastic for video. All these AF tests are in standard picture profile 4K 25p video. I find the video quality looks very sharp with beautiful background to foreground separation. The out of focus area looks very dreamy. This lens is extremely impressive at keeping focus while zooming. It practically looks parfocal. A couple of other things you need to know if you plan on using this lens for video. So if you use gimbals, this lens stays nicely balanced while zooming. It supports MF linear focusing, and there is also very minimal focus breathing. The build of this lens is where there have been quite a few nice updates. First of all, this lens weighs only 998 grams with no attachments, which is amazing for a high-quality 70-200. It's 360 grams lighter than the Mark I version. It felt great using it out on location due to this weight reduction. This lens has internal zoom and features a zoom ring, focus ring, and a control ring with a click switch. There are 2 custom buttons, an AF to MF switch, a focus limiter switch, and it has a 77mm filter thread. This lens has a detachable tripod collar where you can completely take off not only the foot but also the ring to make the lens lighter. There's a new lens hood as well that has a window for adjusting filters, and this lens is compatible with Nikon's 1.4x and 2x teleconverters. This Mark II also features vibration reduction. The only negative I have about the build of this lens is the fact that the zoom ring is all the way at the front end of the lens, which felt uncomfortable having my hand all the way out there and so far away from my body to zoom with. I kept moving the focus ring instead because that's where it felt more natural for me to be holding the lens from. And yes, this felt uncomfortable whether I was using the LCD or the EVF, neither made a difference for me. And the positioning of all the rings is still the same from the Mark I. I also shared a quick comparison video to the build of Sony 70-200 f2.8 Mark II because this Nikon is slightly lighter and they both look practically the same in size. Something you might notice is that Sony's zoom has quite a few more switches on the lens. It's great that the Nikon Mark II has a focus limiter switch, but it would have been nice to see a few more features for video users, such as different panning modes and things like that. Can we do one? I want to get like one close-up of you. I think just there is good because the light is like super soft this way. Stunning. Yeah, I like that a little bit of shoulder. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, I want to shoot with the little window things over there too. Yeah. Could you please stand maybe on the corner of this one? Oh, that looks so cool. That's beautiful. This 70-200 Mark II has 11 rounded aperture blades and it produces really beautiful, clean and round bokeh. This bokeh stays round even as you bump your aperture up. From around f5, you can ever so slightly start to see some corners to the bokeh if you zoom in and look for it, and those corners become more pronounced as you continue bumping up your aperture. In comparison, the Mark I also produces clean and round bokeh, but those corners are much more obvious as you start to increase your aperture. So I've got to bump up my ISO a bit more, because it is quite dark today. Oh, this is so pretty here. Yeah. Try and get some bokeh. Oh, beautiful. We unfortunately had no sun on the day of our photo shoot, but I did take photos with both the Mark I and Mark II on a different day to see the lens flares. You might have watched my Nikon 24-70 f2.8 Mark II review, and if you haven't, I'll leave it linked down below, but in that review, I noticed there was a big improvement in the coatings of the Mark II lens, which resulted in more controlled lens flares, and the same thing is happening with this 70-200 Mark II. The Mark I version has a very prominent blue-colored lens flare, which in my opinion would look very distracting if that were to pop up in my photos. I always prefer a more subtle lens flare with warmer colors so it can look more natural in my images if I choose to include it. The Mark II in comparison does have a way more subtle lens flare, it has a warmer color and only features one flare compared to the Mark I that has a chain of flares. I want to see if you stand here. Because I like the green in the background. I think like the green and red is a good mixture. Oh, that works better. Okay, I like that. Oh, that was pretty. All right, perfect. Nice. That was a bit more my vibe. Car, but we also had greenery in the background. So in this location, I want to get some comparison shots between the Mark II and the Mark I. So I'm going to start off here with some shots at 70mm. So I'll get a couple. I feel like here if you want to, oh yeah, actually some movement would be good. Perfect. And then if you could step maybe just like out this way a little bit more. And if you keep your chin up just a bit because it's a bit dark.
Yeah, so it's not too much shadow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's pretty. Then I'll switch the lens. And now we've put on the Mark I, so we'll get some of the same shots at 70mm again. Oh, actually, I can like immediately see the difference in autofocus. It's like slipping a little bit on this one. Last but not least, I have those comparisons I promised you between the 70-200 2.8 Mark I and Mark II. Image quality wise, both lenses look very similar, especially since we had quite flat lighting on this day. They're both sharp and provide plenty of details in the images. Where the Mark II pulls ahead though is in performance. I could instantly feel the Mark I isn't as snappy and fast the moment I started taking photos with it. So if you currently have the Mark I and are wondering if you should upgrade to this Mark II, then I would say yes if you think you can benefit from the performance upgrades. So now I'm on the Mark II again. I'm going to get a close-up shot at 200mm. There are also some bokeh improvements if you shoot at slower apertures and really big upgrades if you shoot with backlight quite a lot with reduced flaring. I have one more comparison to show you, this time at 105mm, just so we have each part of the lens. So I'm on the Mark II and I'm getting a mid-length shot, and we have quite a lot of texture and color to look at in this frame, so I'll get a couple of photos there. And now I've switched over to the Mark I and we're gonna get the exact same shot again. This is so pretty here. So I'm going to take a photo at all the main focal lengths of this lens with both Eva and I standing in the same spot, and we've got like a cool down the street perspective here just to show you what it all looks like. So starting off at 70mm, and then we're going to go to 85. Next we have 105. Then we have 135, and finally we have 200mm. So I'm going to do that again, you know the drill. This time I'm going to move around to frame each shot to look the same, and this time I'm going to start at 200mm. So we have 200mm, then we have 135, next is 105, then we have 85mm, and finally 70. That is all I have for today's review. Don't forget to check out my online natural lighting workshop, which is linked down below. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I make new videos every single week, so I'll see you all next time. Bye.